Hey y'all, how you doing? I'm like 2 minutes late with good reason. First off, how you doing? Happy Thursday. Um, I'll do my intro early. So for those of you who do not know me, I'm Krishan Wright. I'm the founder of Blaxit Global, the host of the Blaxit Global podcast. If you are a Black person and you are looking to move abroad, I'm your girl. Hey now. I am joining you from my home in Lisbon, Portugal, uh, operating on fumes because I've been out in these streets again. But I didn't go to bed till 4 a.m. So, and then I had a whole nail appointment. So, for those of you who follow me on Instagram, you already know about all the shenanigans that happened yesterday. But the day turned around, and so long story short, the queen, goddess, all the things, the legendary Shaka Khan was in Portugal, and she had a concert last night in Cascais, which is part of the Cool Jazz Fest. And so she was the headliner, so she was last. So I was trying to get sleep yesterday because she didn't get on the stage till 10:30. And so, much to my surprise, and I know some of my fellow crew is in the comments, we were front row. Now, these tickets were purchased probably like February, maybe March. So did not pay attention to like where we were because I mean, I haven't been, I don't think any of us have been at that venue like for an event. So I didn't know like where we were going, and got there, and then the 4 seats front row. I'm like, what? So Shaka comes out in all her shockiness. She shocked us because at 71, the body is banging and the voice, whoo, hoo, hoo. Let me tell you, she came with the hotness. Again, some of the stuff is in my Instagram stories. Although, channel members, Blaxit Global Passport crew, y'all will get some more stuff. I just been, like I said, running on fumes today. But if that wasn't enough, right? Like we were jamming, know all the songs, right? Marguerite was there. That's right. Marguerite said it. Marguerite was like, we were front row, baby. So then, it was a whole crew, right? We had Blaxit Global. We had all of our other friends. Like we was rolling deep. Shout out to Mel and Tadasi for picking out those awesome seats. And, beautiful venue. And so get home, it's like 3, and I'm still, running on adrenaline. And, take the makeup off, clean up, whatever, get into bed. And so one of my other friends that was at the concert, but we missed each other, she messaged me and she was like, oh, you guys made the program. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, because, now it's like 3:30, like, I'm home now. I'm coming down. I'm ready to go to sleep. She's like, you're on Shaka Khan's Instagram. What? So, of course, now I have to hurry to Shaka Khan's Instagram to see said photo of moi. What? Like, how is that? How is that even possible? How is that even possible? So I'm like, let me tell you, the strangest things be happening to me. I love it. Right? So here it is. I think y'all should be able to see it. Because I can't see what you see. Let me see. Yes, you are able to see it. So see, Mel, Tadasi, moi, and Marguerite. This is the photo that's on Instagram. I'm like, and not Instagram stories, Instagram post for perpetuity. So of course now at 3:30, now I'm seeing myself on Shaka Khan's Instagram page. Now I'm up for like another 45 minutes, sharing it to everybody I know. I'm like, oh my God, I'm about to do that. So yeah, your girl did not get much sleep. Because this is what life is, right? Which actually works into tonight's topic about mastering your move abroad and redefining your future. Because had I not made the decision to move abroad, right, we would not be having this conversation. But also, had I not envisioned a bigger life for myself than the life that I was living when I was in the States, I know that I would not have been able to manifest such wonderful connections with people, as well as have these dope ass experiences. I was like, wait, 2 weeks ago I was on the yacht for my 50th birthday. Now I'm Shaka Khan, like, all the things. So before I bring on my guest for tonight, I do want to make mention of the fact that there is a hurricane that has passed through the Caribbean, Hurricane Beryl. The remnants of said hurricane is in the vicinity of my next guest. So one has been impacted and is not going to join us, but the other is. So if there are any technological glitches or anything like that, just excuse that because there is some severe weather passing through the area. So send our positive vibes, right, to everybody that is in the impacted areas. And then I'll say a quick hello to some of y'all and then bring on my next guest. Hey, Jametta, first in the chat. Action BJ. Hey, good to see you. Hey, my little concert goer. We had so much fun last night. Oh my gosh. Hey, Sharon. Hey, Chanel. Hi. All right. Yes, I was running on fumes. Jacqueline, hey, Sharon, the Dr. Donna. Oh my goodness, yes. And hey, Yakota, how you doing, friend? Yes, we are having all the times. And so I am happy that all of you are here. I know you probably got my note late because, like I said, I was running on fumes today. Hey, and Teresa, I just had some of the lovely tea that you brought me from my not just bought me as part of my birthday gift. Yes, Teresa, when she was here, she brought me a birthday present. Yes. And so I just had some. Because I was like, ooh, remember running on fumes. Anyway, all right. So I am so appreciative you all are here. So I'm going to tee it up. So my next guest is not a stranger to the Blaxit Global YouTube channel, and she's not a stranger to the Blaxit Global podcast. So some of you already followed her, running on fumes. Some of you have stayed at her beautiful establishment. So I'm going to bring up my friend, Michelle Wedderburn. Hey.
Hey. So happy to be back again. Thank you.
Oh my goodness, so great to have you. I know you could hear me while I was talking to the audience
Mhm.
and shared that, you have some severe weather. So if the weather gremlins and technology gremlins decide to get together and have a party that does not invite us, we
Yes.
will do what we need to do. But in the meantime, it is good to see you as always.
Likewise. Thank you again for having me on. We are missing my counterpart. However, we will just, hopefully she can tune in and I'll just talk for both of us.
Yes. Sending our love to Tracie and to you as well, and hoping that everything stays nice and dry, and that you can resume life very very soon.
Yes.
Um, so, like I said, I know that you haven't been a stranger to the channel, but for those who might be new and or have not listened to your episode of the Blaxit Global podcast, how about a quick intro?
Sure. I'm Michelle Wedderburn. I am the founder of Casa Elm here in San Miguel de Allende, which is located in central Mexico. I have lived here since 2018. Krishan and I have had multiple conversations. So, one, I'm grateful for every opportunity to show up in your space and talk about the things. So, I just want to say thank you again for that. But I live in San Miguel. I love it here. I have traveled in and out of Mexico for a lot of years, and this is now my home. And so, having an opportunity to move into having a guest house space has been such an amazing journey that I'm here to talk about it and share more of the story and what we're doing and things like that. And the groups that keep coming to SMA as well. We call San Miguel de Allende is abbreviated SMA, just in case you're wondering. And so I'm just excited to be here. It's been such a pleasure, having and standing in this purpose, this chapter of my life. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a remarkable journey that you've had, and I love like just every evolution, including the summit, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But you made this move to San Miguel with your son, who's growing leaps and bounds.
I know. So big.
Yes, I'm like, oh, look at Micah. And it went from like, oh, look at Micah, like, wow, look at
I
Micah.
know, it's so crazy. Sometimes I look at him, I'm just like, what, like, how did this happen? It's like overnight. Yes.
Wow. And so when we're talking about like tonight's topic being like, redefining your future, which you're going to have this summit with Tracie, the Redefining virtual summit, Redefining Life Abroad virtual summit. So when you set out and made this decision for you and Micah to take this journey and this leap over to SMA, like, did you fully see or think that Casa Elm and all of the things that you're doing now and the lives that you're impacting, was that even in the periphery?
Not at all. When I moved here, I came semi-retired. I was married at the time. I'm no longer married. And so, all of those things I think play into where I am right now and why I call it my purpose in general, because there were so many factors that were involved in why I'm where I am and what I'm doing and listening to that. So when I moved here, it was really starting with the desire, as you already know, to raise my son in another place. So I can say that that was kind of the primary motivation initially. I really wanted to be somewhere else, and I always loved the idea of living in another country, learning another language or culture, and just being somewhere that felt different than the United States. I never felt that I was supposed to be in the United States in general, like
Wow.
just never felt that that was my place. Even though I grew up there, I wasn't born there, but I just always felt like it's a place for opportunity, but it's not a place that I want to stay and live. So, in saying all of that, when I moved here, I really didn't have a full handle on exactly what am I going to be doing, and had no idea that I would be in this particular purpose. I call it a purpose. Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing how these things like unfold, and I think at least in my journey, and I'm curious how you feel about it as it relates to yours. Like I was doing a lot of mindset work in the build up to the move, um, making the decision to feel okay with like retiring, even though my original plan was, oh, the kids will be grown, they'll be in college. I can like work for 10 years, pile up a bunch of money because I won't have as many expenses and all this stuff. And then the more that I was listening to other content creators, having people on the podcast, I'm like, I think I can retire. But then that had to be like a mindset shift to go from saving and investing to envisioning my life,
Right.
spending. And then that's when I realized like, oh wow, this whole time that I've been in the U.S., well, I did, have accomplishments and things like that. That there were some major areas that I was playing small, and I said,
Mhm.
oh, you know what? In this version of my life, like I've been saying a lot this year, all gas, no brakes, right? Like full sun. If it's too much, put your shades on. I'm not dimming my light for anybody.
Good for you.
And all the things keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And I think that fits into what we're talking about tonight, as well as the summit, because when people think about moving abroad, they may be thinking about career or finances or whatever
Mhm.
only in the lens of the environment in which they live.
Right.
And because that's all they know. So that's natural. But when you allow yourself to dream a bigger dream or a different dream, I feel that that's where the magic happens.
Absolutely. I agree with that 100%. And I feel that, this journey for me in having the guest house space really was, it was there for me, but again, not really going out there and saying, okay, but when it was the time to do it, it felt like there were a lot of factors in my life that I needed to pull, those thorns out of my side so that I can get forward, right? So those pains that I was experiencing, which people experience, whether it's a job they don't like, their situation that they don't like, you have to really listen to that. You don't just keep taking it and just sitting there, because when you take that pain out, now you're like focused on what it is, right? You can't let fear allow the pain part to continue. That's how I view it. And for me, it was like, a lot of things were not comfortable initially. And I was just like, okay, I'm going to get a space because that's what I think will make sense for what I'm already doing just online. And so moving forward into, making the point is I have realized in these like last 1 to 2 years, I've been here for almost 3 years in this space doing this business, is that there's so much that we have to bring forth and ways that we can earn and things that we can do. I think we just need to have the faith in that. It doesn't mean you don't have a plan, but I was even talking to doing a video earlier today, and I sort of just kind of went into it, and I was just saying how I love to cook. And now I've added that into the Casa Elm umbrella, right? So
Oh,
I'm not necessarily doing it all by myself, but I'm just kind of like, you know what? I'm Jamaican. This is the food I grew up on. I love my Jamaican heritage and I like cooking. People ask me about it all the time. And then someone else asked me, I have had a few people ask me about doing a class. So just one of those things where you just think like, oh, I could do this, I could do that. And yes, you need to be focused, but I'm just saying it in regard to yeah, you don't have to dull your shine. You can just be out there saying, you know what, I really enjoyed this. I really enjoy that. I love decorating. I love decorating. Someone asked me this week, can I help them with a project in their house? So all the opportunities are there. And yeah, I see Dee, she was one of the people asking me about a cooking class. So the point is that yes, you need to be focused. Yes, you need to figure it out. Yes, you need to make a plan. No, you don't want to do this without having, some funds and financing and things like that. But I think we've been so conditioned to be in the job environment. I worked in corporate for a very long time. I left a long time ago in 2002. Will never go back. And,
that part.
exactly. And I was like, I'd rather be out here doing the things I enjoy doing and loving life than to be kind of in that particular environment. And I just felt that felt like that was supposed to be security for me. And
Yeah.
miserable all the time. So I think we're all capable of so many things when we take the time to think it through.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And with you and what you're doing at Casa Elm, and now, several years into the business and seeing many travelers come through either, with the plan of moving abroad or testing it out, kicking the tires, like what have been some of the challenges, I think common challenges that you think people struggle with along the journey?
I feel that first off is not making a good plan, really not
Mm,
planning. It's easy for people to look at a video, tap into things and kind of fantasize somewhat about what they're looking at and that could be me and whatever. Now I always say this, and I think I said it as well a couple times on your previous shows with me on your shows, and that's to know yourself, right? To
mhm.
understand what your capacity is, right? And are you a real person, like real grind kind of mentality, or person that is like, I can't I can't do this, and or I can't do this on my own? Or are you someone that it's like, I can do this. I'm going to get it in there and I'm going to make a whole, something, lemonade out of lemons, right? That's like the mindset is, what is the mindset? And then not planning, people not really planning there, or thinking, oh, I can do this myself, not getting help. There's a lot of help now, right? I say that a lot. I see people epically failing at just getting a place to live in because they did not do the homework. They just showed up and signed like leases from abroad. And I'm just like, you never do that. Like, you need to see the space. You need to see who you're sending your money to. That's like common
Yes.
sense. Don't get so caught up in the price and the things, and just be like, oh, like, oh, this is inexpensive, and it looks beautiful online, and I want it.
Mhm.
So just kind of those kind of pitfalls that people tend to make, and not wanting to basically invest in your journey. I think that that's
Yes.
so important, to invest in the journey.
Oh yeah, because sometimes I see people being penny wise and pound foolish, and
Mhm.
then they spend more money
Yeah.
because they decided to go, like I said, on price as their main motivator,
Yes.
and then not taking into consideration that you have a whole life. Like, yes, where you rest your head is important, but
Mhm.
you also have to look at where you rest your head within the bigger picture of your lifestyle.
Mhm.
So if you are someone who, is active, do you want to be somewhere in the sticks where,
Right.
you might not have access to parks? Or, I tend to like seeing water,
Mhm.
and I'm realizing that, okay, in my next apartment, I at least want to have water view or proximity to a beach. Like, that's really important to me. But
Right.
it wasn't so high on the list that, like, I was like, oh, I really hate my apartment. I don't. I love my apartment. I just wish it was somewhere different. But
Right.
I've seen people like make mistakes where they get a place and then it's like, oh, it smells, or the neighbors are loud, or all of these things that, yes, if you do it sight unseen, you don't get to realize that, oh, around the corner is a bar that stays open till 3 a.m. because you looked at it when you were on, if you went on a scouting trip, you looked at it in the middle of the day when everybody was at work, but not knowing that the place be jumping
Exactly.
all
And those
night.
are factors, because to me,
Yeah.
where you sleep, where you live, that can make or break the whole thing, right? Because if
Yes.
you have one, two, or three negative experiences
Hmm.
that have to do with where you rest your head, you're
Yes.
probably going to go back. You're probably going to, I've seen it. I have
Mm.
seen it. I had a client in the beginning phases of my doing consultations. This was even before I had Casa Elm,
Hmm.
and she just wanted to get here and hit the ground running. So she agreed to an apartment that she had not really had a lot of familiarity with or whatever. And it was literally, it was like, that was a disaster. And then she moved to another place and didn't seek any help with it. We
Hmm.
did the consultation, but like after the fact, she was like, oh, I didn't want to bother you. And I thought, like, I'm here to kind of help you get to where you need to be. And it
Yeah.
was just like, literally, when I tell you, she moved 3 times in like a 2 or 3 month time frame and ended up going back. Yeah.
Oh man.
So, and it's happened
Yeah.
more than once. This is just one of the more severe cases.
Yeah, and you can kind of see, especially a couple of years into this, the people that are at risk, right? Like don't have a clear vision, doing a copy and paste of somebody else's life. Like we're all uniquely different. We all have different skills, abilities, desires, dreams, and while you can look at someone for inspiration and information, like
Mhm.
ultimately it's on you to think about what is it for your life. How do you want to define,
Right.
your future self?
Mhm.
And it part of it is getting back to that time in your life where you thought you could be an astronaut, a teacher, and the president of the United States all in one. Right? Sometimes it requires you to go a little delulu for a bit, but also like grounding yourself and learning to something that you had mentioned before about knowing yourself. I would add to that, like trusting yourself
Yes.
is a big part of that, because as people in this world, but Black people in particular, right, there's always a veil of suspicion, particularly in the United States. And so over time that wears on your ability to trust yourself and your own decisions.
Mhm.
If everything that you're encountering, your manager is second guessing your decisions, or a spouse or someone else, right? Like you have to learn how to fortify yourself along this journey to be
Absolutely.
able to withstand the challenges that come and be able to tap into that gut.
Mhm. I think it's really important to, you know, just kind of do your research and kind of to know what kind of person you are, as I say all the time. How much can you take of something? Are you that person who can just say, okay, you know what, this didn't work out. I'm just gonna move over here, or I'm gonna try this. You have to know yourself. But if you're like someone who plans so much and you had to get in to wherever and you put so much effort into it, and if it didn't work out for some reason, you're gonna like crumble. Just gotta take a step back and digest it. Moving is complicated. It's
Oh
complicated.
yeah, it is. And having community is like the ultimate cheat code. I swear, cuz now I'm coming up on, gosh, in a few weeks, 11 months, which feels like I can't believe that. And before you know it, I'll be
Yeah.
celebrating a year here. And what helped me have a soft landing in Portugal is the fact that I had community. And I had built-in community with the 12 that came over in Blaxit Global, and more that have come since. And then also people that I had met along the journey through the podcast and whatnot. And so each one of us, as other people start to come over, and I am hosting my Scout House next month, and I'm excited to welcome those travelers. And for those of you who are watching live in the replay, yes, Nomad Noir is coming back in 2025. You can hit the link in the description for the wait list, which is growing. I'm like, ooh, do I need a bigger house next year? But it's like helping other people with that transition to make it easier. Like that's our opportunity.
Mhm.
Is yes, we're not going to be able to make it where it is, painless, right? Nothing
Right.
in life is pain free, but it doesn't have to be a struggle.
Right. Right. I feel that, there are so many resources available right now in so many different countries, cities in general, and the communities in those places are growing. And I think it's very important to reach out to those communities, continue doing your homework. I actually had zero access to things like this. However, I traveled a lot prior to moving here, and I don't know, I just felt that I could do it.
Yeah.
I definitely had rude awakenings along the way, but I'm still here. And I definitely had zero intentions, no matter what happened or what came up, unless it was something really traumatic, to ever go back. So, I just worked through the problems and made it work. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And look at all of the seeds that you planted, and now they are blossoming and blooming, and other people get to experience,
Mhm.
the beauty of that.
Absolutely.
Um, so how did the idea of the summit come about?
Oh, you know, I think first of all, it's a grand idea. I believe Tracy was the one that it originated with, and they might have been having conversations about just the various things that they were experiencing as newcomers to Mexico. I believe everyone except Danielle has been here for about a year or a little bit less. And then Danielle's been here. She's also a part of the six speakers that will be participating. And she's been here, I think, for 2 years. And then I've been here for over 6 years. So I was asked, like, after the idea came up, if I would be interested in it. And I said, absolutely. And each of them have their topics and things. So I think we were all, and when I came on board, we were all kind of just thinking about how much we had to just adjust how we were living from what we experienced in the US to moving and living in Mexico, because we all still work, we all still are doing something to earn money. Some of us, I think, are like semi-retired, or a spouse is retired or something like that, or retired from whatever the career was and now looking at doing other things. And each person has had the different experiences that I think really play into the big picture that people experience when they do move abroad. And it doesn't matter if you are still working or not, there is a huge adjustment to make. And I think that that's how this whole kind of concept came about, was talking about the things. How do you make it a success for you, right? How do you make it a positive journey for yourself? So that's I believe where all of this kind of was birthed.
Oh, wow. That's awesome, because it even, and I think one of the things that I love about the summit that you all are putting on is, like, regardless of whether or not you're contemplating moving, in the process of moving, or even have already made the move, like, this is still an opportunity for you to get some key takeaways. The areas that you have is like the pillars for the summit really hone in on some of those things that we just talked about earlier, right? The tension points, the opportunities like entrepreneurship, finances, how that comes into play. The diversity of amongst community is very important.
Yes.
Um, so I love that. And I'm looking at some of the comments and realizing also too that
It's
I
in
want
here.
to take some. I wanted to make sure we got to a lot of the meat of it in case, like I said, the tech gremlins come in. But let's see, Love Park Connection. Um, yeah, definitely. I will be hosting a visit in 2025 and doing a scouting trip. Definitely, you can hit the description for that. Also, while I'm thinking about it, let me put it in the chat for those of you who are interested in attending the Redefining Life Abroad Virtual Summit.
Yes.
Um, I want to offer a ticket to someone who is interested in attending the Redefining Life Abroad Virtual Summit.
Yeah.
So, in order to get said ticket, right, we're going to make this interactive because I love that, is you need to take a screenshot of this live and tag Michelle, me, and Tracie,
Yes,
right?
Collins.
Tag us on Instagram, and then we will see the post, and one of you will be a lucky winner. So I'll pick the winner tomorrow. I'm going to another concert tomorrow, y'all. Like, I stay in these streets.
I love it.
I was supposed to see Tyla, but she had to cancel. So I'm still gonna go. It is Dua Lipa, but Dua Lipa doesn't come on stage till midnight. Lord, pray for me. Um, so in my streams of consciousness tomorrow, I will by maybe midday Eastern time to make it fair, then I will pick a winner. So in order to enter, I'll say it again. Take a screenshot, tag us. I'm at Blaxit Global. Michelle is at Casa Elm. Tracie is at Tracie Collins.
Yes.
And we'll pick one. All right.
We'll let we'll let you do that and let us know who it is. That's exciting. Yeah, we look forward to doing this. So I want to talk a little bit about the details
Yes.
when we stay connected here.
Yes. Yes. Let's get into that part.
So, so Tracie and I usually get on and do the media things together.
Mm-hmm.
She is unfortunately not able to join us because we just had a crazy downpour of rain, and we're getting the residuals, as you said, of Beryl, which is actually my aunt's name, who is very spicy. So we call her Auntie B. Okay, so with the Redefining Your Life Abroad Summit, which is happening August 10th and 11th. We're going to be a panel of 6 amazing women. We all live in San Miguel de Allende, and we all met here. So it's really a beautiful thing because, as Prashant said, community is, I think, really what continues to bring us all together, continues to bring us together in exploring ideas that we can do together. This is one of them. And each of us have our own special skills and our own things that we are going to bring to this summit to really educate you on how you can also move abroad, number one, but what do you do after you move? And that's where this came from, is to kind of just help people who can't see that, right? Maybe, or can't see it clearly, or they're having a hard time with what do I do when I get there, or how can I expand what I'm doing now to living in Mexico? So I'll start with Tracie. Well, I'll start with Dee because she's at the top of my list, and she's Brown Girls Invest too in the chat.
Yes, I see her. Hey, hey, hey.
So Dee is actually going to be talking to you about investing and growing your money. She is an expert at this, has a lot of years of experience with this particular thing. It's just something she does, and it's something that she teaches online. If you haven't found her channel, it's Brown Girls Invest too as well. And there's so many tips and tidbits that you can start to look at another way to maybe even grow the money you already have. I feel like this is a great thing that you can learn. You have to put the time in, but you can learn this while you're planning. You know, you could say, I want to be wherever in a year from now. You can start to learn. You can invest in getting help on how to do this. It takes years, I believe. That's my take, to really understand everything. But there are ways to, grow what you already have and ways to be sustained in the future. So that's Dee's talk. And then with Tracie, she's going to be focused on business strategies, freelancing, and working as an entrepreneur, right? And actually not freelancing. She's going to be focused on entrepreneurship, branding and marketing, and business strategies. She's better at explaining herself, but she has helped a lot of people, and she's still doing it online with their digital business, their online presence, how to scale up and grow what it is you're doing. She offers a lot of tips on Fridays on her channel, Tracie Collins Official, and you can find her online and just kind of, tap into the things that she knows. She's very wise. And, we're very grateful for her pulling us together under this particular umbrella. And just the ideas that we get to kick around in our group, it's really a beautiful thing. So you definitely want to check that out. We also have Danielle, and Danielle's actually going to be talking about parenting and having like a family, because I think that that's very important. Is if you're moving with children, I'm also going to speak on this, but I'll be talking about it from a single parent standpoint. But Danielle will be focusing on just like the things that your children experience or your kid may experience moving to another country, depending, I personally think it depends on their age,
Yeah.
the language, what are the challenges and things like this. So she's going to really talk a lot about bringing and being in the family unit and how it has benefited them. Talk about like those costs that are involved with educating your children in Mexico. What does that look like? And I want to say this too, that redefining your life abroad is for everyone, even if you're moving to Portugal or any other country in the world. It's not just about Mexico. We are all in Mexico, but this is really food for thought in so many ways and so many subjects to kind of help you grow. And then we have Bobby. Bobby's going to focus on marriage, life, and being abroad, which is also important. As I said earlier in the show, I was married when I moved here, and and we're not going to get into all of that. I did a video a couple months ago about like how to be prepared if it doesn't work out, right? With whomever, it doesn't matter what the relationship looks like or how you define it. It's just something you need to talk about. And this is what she focuses on her channel, Aging Grateful. And I think it's important for people to, and I know she has another channel, but I don't want to butcher it. D, if you know, you feel free to drop it in, but it focuses on being in a relationship, being married, and how you navigate living and moving to another country. And I think it's very important to have those conversations as well. And for myself, navigating that in the sense of, not to put a Debbie Downer on anything, but it's like, okay, if it doesn't work out, like what is your plan B or C? Because I see that happen a lot. So I think that those are conversations that are very, very important. And yeah, Black Married and Abroad, that's the other YouTube channel that she is their host together. So this is what we're going to be focused on. And then Alum is going to be the one who's focused on freelancing and government contracting and how you can get jobs online and how you can continue working and earning money being in another country. And I think that that is a huge thing for people who may have a job that they physically go to and they want to have a remote type thing. And how can I do that? How can I freelance? How can I live somewhere else? And she is extremely good at what she does. So definitely, like if that's your thing and you want to remote work, I really think that it's important for you to tap into that. There will also be myself. I will be talking to make sure I covered everyone. I will be talking about Casa Elm, having a brick and mortar, and how do you do that, right? Like how is it possible to have a business? What types of things you need to obtain in Mexico? I will not be speaking for any other country because I don't know, but I want it to be so in depth for you so you understand that we may be on the outside looking in at certain things, but you can also do this, right? And you can't just always look at other people's scenarios and say, oh, I wonder, how that happened, or I wonder how they did that. I think it's important to, okay, well, yeah, thank you for putting that up. I think it's important to tap in to how, right? What are the resources around you? One of the things that I've noticed in Mexico is you can have a business, You just need to find the right people, which is not always easy, to help you get the right things set up. I feel that culturally, they do allow people that live here, their residents, their citizens, to earn. It's a very entrepreneurial type country anyway. So there's not a lot of heavy red tape like that we would experience in the US in regard to, getting a permit, getting your, it's a RSC, which is kind of like a tax ID number, things like this, but you still have to make the steps. And there's so many ways that things can be done. And that's what I'm here to talk about. That's my talk, is starting a brick and mortar in another country. How was it for me? And the steps, the very important things that I had to, research and get an attorney for, pay for help, basically, right? So that I don't have any issues. And even talk about the pros and the cons, the pros and cons. I mean, they're just things, for me, it's the biggest thing I think is the language. It's always like, okay, what is this, but then incorporating the help. Right now I have a very right hand woman that works with me, and she kind of started as my housekeeper, and she is literally the manager of this house. Anything goes wrong,
Wow.
anything breaks, anything needs to be worked on, she's on it. And you need that. That is
Yeah.
also a part of the community that you need to build. It's not just the expat community, because it's like if you only rely on the expats, it's going to be the blind leading the blind situation.
Mm-hmm.
Because you really need some local people who speak the language,
Yes.
even if it's an expat, that really has, been a part of the community to really help you on that journey. So overall, that is what we're touching on. We're also talking. We're also touching on the psychology behind moving abroad. Sometimes people get depressed because they're there, they made it, and it's like, what now? Just kind of keeping yourself involved in things that are of interest to you. So this is going to be a very, social kind of advising type of weekend, but a weekend where we really will be sharing and bearing our, experiences in black and white. So I really hope that people will continue to sign up and join us. Yeah. And Alum, her channel is called Finding Alum.
Yes,
She's also
yes.
on TikTok, so sorry I missed that.
No, no, no. I think that was very comprehensive and thorough. So thank you for stepping us through all that. And I just want to double click on something that you said before about the summit, happening August 10th and 11th. So I know it's split over 2 days, but is it all the speakers on one day? What can people expect from that?
Yes, and I also missed one other point. The LGBTQIA plus community also will be represented through Dee and Tracie. They will talk about, the places that they've, well, more so Tracie, I remember talking about, she's not able to travel any and anywhere. And she was kind of like expressing that it's important for people to know where they can go, where they can travel to, and the places they're received, and where they can live, where they feel safe. So that's also going to be included, and they will focus on those things. The summit will be both days, and on the second day will be the Q&A session, so you can sign up for those. On the first day, we're going to be more so focused on our talks and the pros and cons and the cost and things like that are involved, the different things underneath each of our talks. And then on Sunday, it will be a Q&A with each of us, so people have some time to digest and
Nice.
figure out what their questions are, and then they can come back. Yeah. And we can help them with those.
Yeah, look, I love how this summit has been pulled together, the design of it, because, when you're getting all of that information, it's like drinking out of a fire hose. And so giving people the opportunity to like take it all in, sit with it a bit, and then say, okay, what are my questions? And then having the opportunity to come back, speak to the speakers, and have that exchange
Right.
is, I think, tremendous. So kudos to y'all on that, on coming up with that framework.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're very excited about it. This is our first time as a group doing this, and we're very excited to get on, our cameras like we are here and just really help anyone interested in learning more about how to do this. It's important, I think, to continue um, researching and growing in your purpose. And even if you're already abroad, I think maybe newly abroad, that this is going to be something to really help you gain a lot of traction.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Because there's levels. I'm realizing now,
yeah.
closing in on 11 months. There's like levels to this journey. What I didn't mention earlier was so two of my friends had come from the States to
Mhm.
celebrate my birthday, and we were all on the yacht. And then their daughter and her husband had moved to Portugal now 3 weeks ago today.
Nice.
And so my friend Jen and her husband, we went down to Lagos on Sunday and in the Algarve. So my first time in Algarve, we went down there and came back. We were in the rental car and the car broke down on the side of the road. And I'm like, oh, I say my Portuguese is transactional. I can buy stuff, I can make reservations. What I have not learned is, hey, we're broken down on the side of the car, on the side of the road, an
Yeah.
hour away where no English is spoken.
And maybe you don't have a lot of internet either to do the.
No. And then it's like one of the bane of my existence is the IVR, where you call and they're like, press one for this. Well, now I know like, what that sounds like in Portuguese, but I feel like whatever button you press, it's like they speak faster. And I'm like trying to figure this out and I'm like, oh my God, 2.5 hours on the side of the roads. But we got back safely, thankfully. But there's levels to this journey, and I think that's like one of the things that when you put on a summit like this, of course you have your target audience that you want to reach, but sometimes people that are in it think like, oh well, it's not going to apply to me. No, I think the key takeaway here is that the areas in which you're focusing on in this summit are beneficial irrespective of where you are in the journey.
Absolutely. I mean, when I moved here, I was going through the same things that you just mentioned, just navigating. And I thought I knew Spanish pretty well until I got here. And, I lived in Miami, so I had a lot of exposure to it. And then I had also traveled for quite a few months in South America. But everywhere is different, every dialect is different. And then living in a place is very different. So I went through a lot of those things. And I still feel after 6 years, like I'm still learning a lot. Having this business has really forced me to learn the language so much better. Now, do I sound right? I don't know. They understand me. So that's all
They
that matters,
understand
right?
enough.
I'm always like, when they start nodding and I see the look of recognition on their
Yeah,
face, I'm
yeah.
feeling really good about it. But yeah, I thought I knew a lot and had the same and similar experiences when I moved here, thinking like, oh, if I make a phone call to the electric company, I am not going to be able to communicate really well. I used to walk down to my security gate and tell them in person someone was coming because I couldn't, like, to call was like, uh, you know, eventually you figure it out, but
Yeah.
it's like you go through the things. So the journey doesn't stop after 1 year. The
No.
learning doesn't stop after 1 year. You will continuously be just keep learning. I mean, if we think about life in the US, it's a lifetime of figuring things out, right? Starting a business, that's a whole other chapter. Going online, figuring out how do I get an FEIN number? How do I open a bank account? It's the same thing. The only difference is there's a language barrier, which does make it
Yeah.
a little more complicated. Yeah.
Yeah, and you can look for context clues. Like that happened earlier, actually today. I was at the grocery store and went to grab a couple things, and the young lady, probably was a teenager, in front of me, and she didn't have enough money to pay for her groceries. And I was like, I had my headphones in. I was listening to Shaka Khan, of course, coming up last night. So I was in my jam, and I'm like, and then I was like, let me turn this down and start listening. And so, of course, I don't understand everything, but I could kind of like piece it together. She was struggling. I was like, oh. So then I gave the woman money, but then I didn't know, like, I still don't know all my numbers. So I was just like, oh,
Numbers.
whatever, she's short. And then she probably looked at my hand like, girl, that ain't enough. So I gave her more money. And then she asked me, like, I think what she was saying, like, is it, do I want to pay for what she's lacking? But it was a word I hadn't heard before, or
Yeah.
all of it. So I knew the second word. So I was like, okay,
Right.
part, whatever was supposed to be part, that part. And so the young girl was like so appreciative, but I was just like, it was like doing a good deed because, especially, seeing a black person, I'm consistent with what I preach, right? It's
Right.
about the African diaspora, and I would not be who I am if I don't see another one of us and help us. It doesn't have to be a black American.
Right.
It's like you pay it forward. And there's so much kindness that has been extended to me in my transition here that that's the least that I could do. But, even with me not knowing like the language, you see another human that's in need, we have an opportunity, right, to help one another. And even in that conversation, in this conversation that we're having, in the summit that you're putting forth, it's our opportunity to continue to give back and pour into others. So for
Absolutely.
those of you who might be, watching and maybe on the fence about it, if you're watching us, you already know that you're tuned into wanting this life for yourself. So extend yourself a bit further. Click the button. I put a link here to the Redefining Your Life Abroad virtual summit. I'm proud to be a media sponsor for the summit. And so I implore all of you to definitely go to the page, check it out, get a ticket. It's only a few weeks from now. And so you can literally be that much further along on your journey.
Absolutely. Yes, we truly appreciate you and everyone else that has jumped in to help us put this out there. And we're really looking forward to the summit, and we're looking forward to continuing to do it as well in the years to come. So, yeah, we'll get better and stronger and more information that we live, we can pass it and pay it forward, as you said, continue to grow in these spaces that we've chosen to live in, move to. That's it. That's important.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I wanted to get back to Nichelle's question before we wrap. Will replays of the Redefining Life Abroad Virtual Summit be available to view
Yes.
later?
Yes, they will. We're kind of sorting through exactly how that looks, but yes, there will be. I think we'll have a replay for the higher ticket price. Yep.
Awesome. Awesome. Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. It's my pleasure. Oh my goodness. The more of us that can get on this journey, regardless of what the motivation is, right? If this is something that is a calling on your heart as someone who for a very long time had the desire to move abroad, but kept getting into hurdles. And I know that if I had had the resources, the tools, the people that I have in my life now, I would have been able to make this move earlier. And so part of it is being able to help people, get off the fence and get on the journey. Cynthia asked what options for those who cannot attend the summit on the 10th and 11th.
I mean,
Will
we're
you
going
be making the replays available for even people that want to buy later?
I believe that's going to be, Alum's actually in charge of that part, but I believe that that will be available for individuals after the fact. And if there are any particular topics that you need assistance with, each of us will be available in terms of like a one-on-one or a group consultation after. So just check with, okay, so she said we just launched a new ticket for 72-hour access.
There you
So
go.
definitely, yeah, definitely visit the link and check that out. But I think we're going to have those two offers, but also you can book with us individually, and you can also continue to watch our channels. We're putting so much information, each of us are putting so much information out there every single week. And tonight we're actually going to be getting on Alan's channel, Finding Alan. And yeah,
Yay.
so you can get on, we're going to be on there talking about, yeah, redefining your life abroad. So I'm very excited to have a day filled with that.
Yes, yes.
Training
So
that.
yes, definitely. And I'm gonna put alums, see finding alum. So after you're done watching us, right, click subscribe to alum's channel, right? Go over there, make sure you click the notification bell. Get in there, get plugged in, because the more of us that you can, you know, consume and pour into you, the closer you will get to goal. Because I know from experience, if it wasn't for the podcast and the sisters in the journey like Michelle, like I would not be here, right? So this is why it's so important. This is your virtual community can become your real life community, and that is
Absolutely.
something that is so important and a beautiful thing to have along the way. So Michelle, I know that you have been withstanding, the weather situation. And so I'm definitely appreciative for you carving out the time. Again, big hugs to you and to Tracie. Please stay dry. Those of y'all who are watching live, thanks for tuning in. I'll be back next Thursday. Have to
Yes.
keep my days straight now. I'll be back
Michelle,
next
come on.
Thursday. Right? Exactly.
Partying like she's 25. I love it.
I'm like, I'm 50. I'm like, who is this person?
Have your fun, live your life. Yep, no judgments.
It's about redefining my life abroad is, discovering that there's a whole new Krishan that I didn't even know that was in there.
Absolutely.
All right. So, Michelle, thank you so much. And y'all, we will see you soon. Take care. And thanks for tuning in.